It is
Thank you.
just a huge honor for me today to be podcast interviewing Arjan DeRoy, who brings a career of experience in medtech strategy and helping practices adopt the tools that will define the next decade of dentistry. I'm excited to dig in where dentistry is going and how Dentsply Sirona plans to shape that future. So, Arjan, what is your vision of the future of dentistry, and where does Dentsply Sirona fit in it?
Uh, Thank you for that question, Howard. First of all, let me express my gratitude to be on your show. I watched many of them, and I really like the way you interview. So I feel honored to spend an hour with you here on this podcast. So to answer your question, you're asking for the journey into dentistry. I started around 15 years ago in orthodontics. And then I got a call if I wanted to lead the endo division for Dentsply. So I happily joined. And then in endo, I learned very quickly and ortho how important it is to focus on the details. 80% is always the same, but it is the details. And then um, after that, I went through Germany for 10 years, leading Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. And now, since 4 years, I've been here in the US. Now, I think that what we do at Essential Dental Solutions, we focus on preventive resto and endodontics, and that's the heart of the practice. And what we do is focus on clinically validated, easy, the best clinical outcome for the patients, and develop it every day and every day in day out, and improve on them.
I'll tell you what, my love for Tulsa Dental Products goes all the way back 3 decades. It was the founder of Tulsa Dental Products was Ben Johnson in
Yeah.
Oklahoma, and he came out with this new thermofill, and I called him up on the phone, and I had all these questions with him, and he said, "This is typical Ben." He said, "Well, you know, it'd be easier." He said, "You ought to, Southwest Airlines flies back and forth. You ought to just jump on an airplane and come out here and spend the day with me." That son of a gun picked me up at the airport, spent the whole day with me in his dental office, teaching me all this stuff. And I just love Ben Johnson so much. I mean, just talk about keeping it real and just a great guy. And but anyway, so what division are you more excited about right now? Is it endo or restoration? Because
So it's what we call essential dental solutions, and that's because we know that these products are essential to the dental office. So it's restorative products, so all the composites, the blocks, cements, bonding materials. It's the preventive materials like the Cavitron, the inserts, but also the anesthetics, and then endodontics, like you said. Ben Johnson was one of the founding companies that we acquired before I joined. My Fair products, so the Pro Taper ones, and the VDW now recently Reciproc. Yeah, so that's my whole portfolio, and I'm always very humbled to say that uh, in dentistry, 90% of the doctors touch one of our product categories, not necessarily ours, but one of our categories 7 days, 7 times a day, 5 days a week. So it's really in the essential part of dentistry, and that's why I'm very honored to be able to lead this.
well, I'll tell you what, before when I started out in endodontics, so I graduated in school in 1987 when most of our viewers were not even born yet. And we do those root canals by hand.
Yep.
And for years and years, I always had a blister on my finger, my thumb. I mean, I had calluses. And when that 300 RPM nitai came out, I mean, holy moly. And there's a lot of kids out there listening to you today, and they always sit there and say, "Well, I don't think I should do this. I only did 2 molars in dental school, and I think I should refer them out to an endodontist." And just remember that, well, the endodontist had to do his first 2 molars. I mean, an
Exactly.
endodontist wasn't born. He didn't do 1,000 molars in your mom's utero. He had to have his first root canal, and your first is your worst, and they're hard. But I'll tell you what, they have no idea how much easier it is today to do endo than it was 30 years ago. I mean, with the 300 RPM night ties, you have three-dimensional x-rays, you got apex locators, and the bottom line is dentistry started with a toothache. Dentistry started going all the way, not GV Black in America, where I have his first three books autographed and signed by GB Black right here on my bookcase. Pierre Fichard in France. And it was when you came to the dentist and you gave him a coin for a toothache. And dentistry, I know everybody likes to think dentistry is fancy, braces, bleaching, veneers, and I know all that, and that's all fun stuff. But it really starts and ends with a toothache. And when those people come to you with a toothache, especially when you're out in the rural and you say, well, I can't do a root canal, you got to get in your car and drive 2 hours from Beeville to San Antonio and see an endodontist. So that's not being a doctor. You have to get people out of pain. And that means you're either going to extract the tooth and place an implant, or you're going to do a root canal. And those also, I remind you, is where all the money is. I mean, the way insurance companies are today, they barely pay you enough money to do the cleaning, exam, x-rays, and fillings. I mean, they know what your costs are, and they just pay you a nickel more than your costs. But root canals and extract, I mean, those are cash cows. A root canal bill up and ground, $2,000. And so if you're young out there and you say, well, I don't think I'm good, it's a challenge. You should look at that. I mean, if I remember when I started placing implants, I literally would lose sleep the night before. I mean, I went all the way through Carl Misch's program and got my fellowship in the Misch Institute. I got my diplomat in the International Congress of Implantology. And I mean, for the first 100, every night before it ruined my night, I'd be go to bed thinking, oh my God, I got Arjan tomorrow. He's coming in at 8 o'clock for an implant. I just sleep like this. I get it. The first 100, I get it. They're tough. But you keep doing them and you keep taking courses. And today with online CE, I mean, my gosh, when I started in Phoenix, Arizona, Arizona didn't have a dental school. And if I wanted to take a course, I had to get in an airplane or drive 6 hours to LA. I mean, I was always having to, when I did Carl Misch's, 7 3-day weekends, I had to live in Pittsburgh. Now you can do this online. I mean, how many online courses does Dentsply have to teach them how to use your products?
Yeah, so it's a couple of thousand, and we literally reach hundreds of thousands of doctors a year with our online courses. But it's very interesting because you touch upon many things. And first of all, the history of Ben Johnson. I mean, what not people many people know, but we have over 150 years of history in developing files, and that is not on our packaging. And nowadays, younger people, there's become so many companies out there. They just claim to be good, and it looks the same, and you can't see the forest through the trees anymore. But we rooted in quality. We rooted in being your endo partner. If you want to start your first endo treatment or implant treatment, by the way, we're here to help you and to guide you through the whole process in a combination with online and also real life clinical education and partnership by our reps. And I think that is really, really important to emphasize on, especially when you're starting your practice. You have to find a sustainable quality partner to guide you through it. So I'm really happy that you're addressing to these things. Uh,
Well, how do they find your online courses, and are they all free? Or talk about the online education. How do they find your online education?
so there's several ways. So the largest platform is DTI, the Digital Tribune International, where we have online courses. Then it drills down to webinars where you can go to our website in whatever country you live in, and you can see, okay, what's offered there. And then we launched a concept a couple of years ago that's called simulcast, which I think is very good. You don't have to leave your office, or at least not for far, where we have a live broadcasting of a doctor, and you have your product in your practice together with a rep or a few other doctors, and do and mimic what's on the screen. And the last one is the real hands-on training. And these are all on our website, dentsply and then you go to courses in clinical education, and that's where you find basically actually everything that we have.
And I want to stay with the root canal for a minute because
Yeah,
when you get a young doc
yeah,
who can treat a toothache with either a root canal and a crown or an extraction laced implant, they're immediately successful. They no longer worry about their student loan debt. They don't not worried about their practice payment. I mean, they're home free. But when they're stuck in cleanings, exams, and fillings, and they're working as an employee somewhere, and they're just barely getting by. But if they want to be a baller rich dentist, which is probably why they spent 8 years going to school, they got to learn how to do a root canal. And I know their fear points is that file's going to break. Those files don't break. They don't break if you use one pack for one tooth. You
Okay.
don't autoclave files. You open them up, you use, I mean, come on, you're getting $1,000 for the root canal. Can you imagine if you went to the orthodontist to get braces and you found out that you got reused braces, that the kid down the street who got his braces off last week, you're now wearing his braces in your mouth. I mean, come on, I think that would be so gross. So
Yeah.
yeah, and when you're using those files, you got intuition, man. When you pull out that file, if you thought it engaged or you thought it might have twisted or whatever, you're one and done because all you want to do is your root canal. And I look at any time a file breaks, they used to break a lot 20 years ago. But the way they've been following up with their night eye and the way they got the hand speed deal and the 300 RPM and it's got torque on it, it's a non-issue unless you're autoclaving files because you're cheap and or you're just you're not listening to yourself. That thing's annoying. And then the other thing about the file, here's the thing about endo that people don't ever talk about. It's not the file is just getting access to all the tooth infection.
So
It's
true.
the irrigation with the ultrasonic. You want to clean up that tooth? It's the ultrasonic and the irrigation. Am I right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's you bring up a bunch of very important details, I always call them, but you're absolutely right. Why would you reuse a file? It just doesn't make sense at all compared to the remuneration that you get and the efficiency that you lose. I mean, when you think of it, what you all need to do, you want to have the predictable outcome. So you want to have as precise the file as you can get, and then have the right access. Then you want to do the irrigation, which is extremely important. It's like I make it sometimes very simple. It's like doing the dishes, right? You don't expect your dishes to be clean just by putting them in some water, take them out half an hour later, and put them in the cupboard. No one does that. But when it comes to endo, there also seems people tend to forget that base logic. You have to irrigate it, you have to activate your irrigation liquid, then you have to rinse it and make sure that it is clean. And that's what I'm really proud of, that we are very progressive on, is the obturation. The cold obturation, the cone beam obturation, especially when you're beginning with it, you want to have the obturation fitting and you want to have a sealer that seals it all so the inflammation doesn't come back. And that's in the end, when you think of it, you take your x-ray after your whole work, you're going to judge yourself and you're going to be judged based on the x-ray that you see. And that is why the system approach, the whole workflow, the innovation, how the products work together is so important. And file breakage, if you buy a good quality file in combination with a torque motor that auto reverses and all that stuff, the file breakage is of course something you always worry about, but doesn't occur. That is so true. Yeah.
Yeah, and if it does break, it's no big deal because if your endodontist has a CBCT three-dimensional X-ray, and he's just going to go down there with ultrasonic and it has a microscope. If you have a 3D CBCT and you have a microscope and you don't, I mean, you only need like maybe, I don't know, 4x, 8x, 10x. I mean at 10x, if you know where that file is and you got 10x magnification and back to the ultrasonics and you ultrasonic around that file, the ultrasonic energy makes that file just back straight out. I mean, I actually think removing, I learned how to do them back in the day when files used to break, but it's a non-issue. But my issue with dentists when I'm watching them do endo is they're doing it just for the X-ray. They're getting to the apex. They're filing out fast with night ties, and then they're getting obturation clean to the end. And irrigation is almost an afterthought. And that's what scares me the most about endo. You can do them all in one appointment. I mean, I always did. Even, maybe if there was a periapical radiolucency and swelling, I might pack it with calcium hydroxide and have him come back for a week. But I don't even think that was statistically significant. I just think it's getting in there and irrigating and cleaning out all that crap.
Yep.
And if you clean it out with all that crap, you got to remember back in the day, remember when they used to use silver points? They
Yep.
just used silver point endo. And so many people would say, well, look at the silver point. Why did it work? Well, it worked because they cleaned out the whole tooth before they obturate. It's not the obturation, it's the cleaning
Yep.
and the filing and the shaping is just so you can get in there and irrigate. But I really want these people to get on your online courses. Another thing is this: your endodontist. I never would use a specialist unless it was a two-way street. Like I would tell my oral surgeon, okay, I'll send you these four wisdom teeth, but four wisdom teeth, 250 each, that's $1,000. Their insurance $1,000 max. That's all their insurance for the year. And he has four fillings that need to be done for $250 each. And that's $1,000. And if he doesn't get those fillings done at least by, if he gets a wisdom teeth done, as soon as his insurance kicks in, like right now we're in November and January 31st, everybody gets a new $1,000. So you should be right now in your October, you should be telling your patients, we could pull these four wisdom teeth right now in 2025, and then January 1 clicks over, and then you come back and get those four fillings done. Because if those four fillings aren't done in a timely manner, each one of those $250 fillings turns into a $2,500 root canal buildup and crown, and then he won't be able to afford that.
Yep.
So he'll just wait till it's a toothache, and then he'll need a root canal and crown. He can't afford that, so now he loses the tooth. And so I would always send my treatment plan with the oral surgeon. So the oral surgeon, another professional figure, lean over your face, and she points at you and says, "Now, I'm telling you, you need. I don't want you to get these root canals done. I mean, these wisdom teeth pulled, and then lose four other teeth. I want to pull four wisdom teeth. I don't want to pull these four molars. So I'm telling you, Arjan, you need to go back to Dr. Farran and get those four fillings done. And the same thing with the endodontist. And I would tell the endodontist, well, I'm not gonna give you all the endo I don't want if you don't teach me the endo that I retain. They
Yep.
all love it, man. They'd say come over anytime, and so maybe your Thursday afternoon would fall apart, and you had a big 3 hour appointment. And they canceled. I get my car and I go drive and I go sit down next to my endodontist, and they would love it, and they teach you all this stuff, build a relationship. Same thing with your periodontist. Or who's ever placed your implants? Is it your periodontist or is it your oral surgeon? But if you're giving them all your sinus lifts and all on fours, all these big cases, but you just want to do a single on a maxillary bicuspid, I mean that's elementary school implants. I mean it's not in the smile, especially on old men like me. Look at me when I talk. I don't even show my teeth. I mean my upper teeth. It looks like I have an upper denture and forgot to put it on. And if you can't, and the reason you have to place the easy ones is because if you don't do the easy endo and the easy implants, you don't understand the referral diagnosis and treatment plan for the complex root canals and the
Yep.
complex implants. And if you got an oral surgeon that says, well, if you want to place an implant, just send him over here. If he's not willing to teach you, find someone that's yin yang. And my gosh, and it's a relationship, it's fun, it's a friend, and you don't need to be meeting your dentist specialist at a bar after work drinking beer. You should be home with your families or working out at the gym. You should be hanging out and doing your social stuff with your specialist when you're with live patients and learning
Yep.
dentistry. And,
Yep.
and it's fun. Now let's go to fillings. We talk about, with endo, once they get 100 under their belt, they're gonna like it. And once they get 1,000 under their belt, they're gonna love it. And once they're like me and they got several thousand under their belt, they actually dream about it. I mean, I swear to God, I seriously, I've woken up before and I thought I was doing a root canal. And you're just like, have you ever woke up and you thought you were talking to your mom on the phone? Or have you ever
Yeah.
have you ever
Yeah.
done that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that before, and I've woken up and I actually thought I was doing a root canal.
Oh, really?
And but when it comes to the fillings, though, the thing with the fillings is, Amalgam's dead, not because of mercury, it's because they don't like the looks of it. I mean, it died from cosmetic reasons. So if you're focused about mercury toxicity, you didn't hear one thing the patient said. They want whiter, brighter, sexier teeth. They want straighter teeth. But with the filling, though, people oftentimes look at the price or the name brand or that. It's the speed. It's the
Exactly.
speed. I mean, I if I can do those four MOD fillings in 1 hour, I'm making money. So talk to me
Absolutely.
about your products that make you. I need to go faster. It's like endo. I'm not worried about how much the 5 files cost. I'm just going to use them once and throw them away because what I want is them not to break and your files don't break. Tulsa Dental product, those pro forma profile, they don't break. But the composites talk speed.
Yeah. So spot on. It's always if you have to realize that the most valuable asset that you have is the minutes you spare you're on your chair. So you can shorten the treatment time. It's better for the patient because I don't know anyone who loves the time on your chair, no matter how expensive that thing was. And second is like you said, it's a revenue generator. And third, you want to have predictable outcomes. So what we focus on is with the best one is SDR, is the flowable bulk fill where it really equals out also on the uppers where it smoothens out almost automatically and you get predictable results, no air bubbles, clinically very predictable and reliable. It seals completely if you work well, and because it's so predictable, you can plan your time and it's going into speed. And I think that is something as well. Once people are in their practice, they're not very open anymore to talk about this kind of things because they think that everybody thinks, of course, we know it all. But those are really things you have to look at. So the speed and the predictability, and then the quality in terms of a clue, yeah, of sealing and how well it works. Yeah.
Bulk fill is so much faster now. Do you like dual cure, auto cure, light cure? Where what do you think's the fastest, highest quality in filling?
With SDR, we still think light cure is the best. Yeah, yeah, because you can, yeah, that's our philosophy. Yeah.
And the number one problem with light cure is Dentsply Sirona can make the finest light cure composite on earth. But if your light doesn't work, and I know so many reps in the Phoenix Valley that have been repping for Benco or Shine or Burkhart for 10, 20 years, and they say that on their clients, they actually will, you got to make sure that however much depth you're placing, I don't know if you place 2 millimeter increments, 3 millimeter increments, four, whatever, you need to get something and drill a hole through it and squeeze that composite and hit that with your light and turn it upside down, and you'd be surprised. And that they sell devices to check your curing light, but I could give you the name of 10 supply reps that have worked in this valley for 10 or more years. They can give you several names of several dentists that they walk in there and their light doesn't work. And a lot of dentists say, well, I checked my light time. Yeah, well, you just dropped it. Yeah, the other day you just dropped it. You walked by it and your butt knocked it on the floor. Did you test it after it bounced on the floor? But my God, you got to test those lights, and it's got to be. I mean, it's got to be really regular because you got a light that's not curing composite, and my gosh, you put out those fillings for a month, and then the next 90 days, all these people coming back with sensitive teeth and sensitive fillings. Well, you did that filling and it's still sensitive. And it's like, and by the way, when they come back and they got a sensitive filling, the first thing you got to do is you got to think curing and you got to get out that cure deal. You got to test your cure light. You can't cure enough. I wanted to ask you about digital dentistry. I noticed you guys are really um I mean the whole world's gone is going digital. I mean, my gosh. And now with AI, with ChatGPT's been out now what, like 3 years, and so the whole world's going digital. What is your vision of dentistry as it's gone from analog, where you mail me stuff in a box, to now a world that's basically going all digital? Do you see a digital revolution in dentistry?
So yes. So we always compare it a bit with the travel. If you plan a trip, right? In the end of the day, what's digital has to become analog at a certain point. And if you for example go traveling and you want to do connected dentistry, you plan your hotel on booking, your flights on the internet, all that stuff, but you have a seat. The experience in the end is how well is your service in your airplane seat, how well is your hotel room, how clean is it. And I think that what we see now is that everybody's throwing digital stuff at our market, as happens a lot. What the main thing is that you have to see it holistically. So what do you want to achieve um, with the digital? You want to have better planning. You want to have a clinical co-pilot that helps you navigating through the diagnose, through the treatment. You want to have in endodontics, you want to do the digital imaging and AI to help, for example, identify apical lesions or missed canals, giving a treatment. So yes, I think there's a big revolution coming to us. I also think that you have to be very targeted. What do you want to achieve with it? Because in the end of the day, in the end of the day, you want to have that what we discussed earlier, well performed endo treatment. You want to have that excellent restorative restoration on top, and digital is helping you to diagnose and to plan it.
You know, when I started lecturing, my first lecture was, my dental school asked me to come back and lecture to their class, and I had no idea that just the old-fashioned word-of-mouth referral that someday I would have lectured in every state, every province in Canada, 50 countries around the world. And I know that you guys are a global country, I mean, a global company. So you get to see dentistry from Mexico to Argentina to Europe, Asia, Africa. What do you think are Americans always think that they're all high tech and they're doing great and all that kind of stuff. And I always say, yeah, if you think America is the greatest country on earth, it's because you haven't traveled. I mean, I've been to your neck of the woods: Denmark, Sweden, Switzerland, Germany, Finland. I mean, talk about the trains running. Japan. Gosh, Japan, I never even saw one graffiti. I didn't see one piece of trash. I mean, those dental offices were spot on. So I know I'm from Kansas. I went to undergrad Creighton in Nebraska. I went to dental school in Missouri. I know all my homies out there in the Midwest think that how could you do better dentistry better than in Texas and Oklahoma and Nebraska? Well, I'm telling you, you know, say hello to Scandinavia and Tokyo. What lessons do you think American homies in Arizona could learn from the dentist in Finland? Or you're Dutch. I mean, what was that company that did you guys sell? What was that bulb that the what was the bulb everybody was investing in? Tulip bulbs.
Oh, Philips. Oh, tulip bulbs. Yeah, yeah, tulip bulbs. Yeah,
Tulip
yeah,
bulbs.
yeah. The
Well,
black
what?
tulips. Yeah, yeah. The first
Yeah,
crash in 1680 something. Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, but the first global company, I mean,
Oh yeah,
you guys owned the world for a
yeah.
long time. But what lessons do you think the dentists in Scandinavia could school a dentist on in Oklahoma?
So I think, by the way, it's both ways. I think the strength of North America is really to see on their dental offices as putting it customer and patient centered, and look at it as a business. And I think that's what America really does well. If we would look the other way around, what the Europeans are very good at, I think the Europeans see dentistry really as a medical profession, and they look at it at a total health perspective. I think this is getting ground here as well. Then there's a lot of science based. The Europeans, they want to have the science behind it. They want to see. If I tell you that our reciprocating system has 700 clinical studies, all of them proving how they work. There's no, and that resonates very well with the Europeans. They really want to see, okay, is what I'm doing, is it scientific based? And I think those two things, when you look at it as a whole humane medicine and combined with scientific proof, I think that can really differentiate you here in the US if you do both. Because I think that is a very strong learning we could learn from each other.
I'll tell you, I think the communists actually have the best system in the fact that the dentists are odontologists, and if they lose their eye-hand coordination, they're already a doctor and they can go do a residency in dermatology or EY, ear, nose, and throat. And I really think that you talked about the Europeans are far more medically based. I really think the whole MDDO side on the Allopath side is very confusing to the customer. I mean, if they take the same test, they're doing the same stuff, everything's the same. Why do you have an MD after half their names and a DO? And I think that the DDS DMD is utterly stupid and confusing to the all the consumers. They're always
Mm.
asking me, I'm a DDS. What's the difference between a DDS and a DMD? And the DOs hate it. I think the world just needs to get off the ego, go MD, and just and we be an odontologist. And if you ever lost an eye without three-dimensional, you can't do dentistry. But if you ever just didn't like dentistry, you could just go do a rotation and be a dermatologist. But staying on that medical issue, the physicians are all using MRIs, and we're still using CAT scans. If dentistry really got medically based, do you ever see the MRI coming to dentistry?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We are working on that in partnership, and we have the first prototypes running, and it looks extremely promising. And especially in endo, where you have the soft tissue visibility, new worlds open up. No, that is coming, no doubt, no doubt.
Like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Will I
No,
still be
more
alive
five,
or
more five. I
more
cannot.
five?
Yeah, yeah, more into
Come on, I'm
five.
63. I'm due for a dirt nap any day now. You got to get that thing out before my funeral, or I'm going to be really really mad
Oh,
because I
definitely, definitely. That's so far out that
that's going to be amazing because
yeah.
I do think that
Look,
you know
that is really exciting. It is absolutely exciting what the possibilities are in that one. Yeah.
So now I'm going to ask you the controversial question that triggers all the dentists and freaks everyone out, and that's the two dirtiest words in dentistry: artificial intelligence. You got dentists that are thinking that they're oral radiologists that they're going to be replaced by a robot. You see Yomi now. Yomi has placed 40,000 dental implants, and I keep telling everybody that you're not going to be replaced by artificial intelligence. A dentist not using artificial intelligence is going to
Exactly.
be replaced with a dentist using artificial intelligence. And if I was going to go have a dental implant and they had five yomis and the oral surgeon just met me and helped me and but then put me in the safe arms of a robot. I mean, if he thinks a robot can do it better, I mean, the reason I cut back doing dentistry, and the reason I had no practice, no problem selling my practice when I was 60 is everybody's different, but it was getting so hard for me to see by 55. I mean, I had the loops, I had the magnification, and you're always raised. Your mama told you to treat other people like you want to be treated, and I got to the point where I was like, I wouldn't want to be doing a root canal on me. Now, extractions, that's all feel for me. That's just an elevator. I could pull wisdom teeth with my eyes closed. If you get a purchase point with a small elevator, but I just couldn't see. But I would much rather have a Yomi robot place an implant. If you got studies on it where they do 1,000 with they can. Tell you another example. Taking biopsies for skin cancer. The best biopsies they want a real small lesion, a cut, so they cut just a little bit. Then they got to go do a biopsy, and that takes 30 minutes. Then they come back and cut some more. And if you really want the least scar best plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills to do that. It might be a 3-hour biopsy if it's a big one on your nose or something. Well, now they got robots. humans can only see at 50 microns. They got robots that see down to 1 micron and they can see live whether that's a cancer cell or I mean, so AI is coming. So what is Dentsply Sirona? What is their AI strategy? What's out now? What can we do you think we'll see over the next 5 years of artificial intelligence making us do our dentistry faster, easier, higher quality, lower price?
No, absolutely. So that there's two elements, and that is the I would say the individual treatment co-pilot, like you say, okay, the implant placement, but but also in endodontics to do the diagnose, to do the detection of caries for resto and all that stuff. And then there's the what I would call more the collaboration procedural part, where you can say, hey, what kind of file system would you use in this kind of curved canals? Um, do you think your skill set is enough, or shall we connect you with your friend, the specialist, like you said earlier, and you can go through DS Core online, real life collaboration supported with AI, so you have a better view on the treatment. And I think, and for restorative, what we see is smoother end-to-end crowns, AI designed crowns, combined with the material to say, okay, how thick does the wall need to be when you have a crown and have a better fit. So what we see is that AI will be a very strong partner for dentists and dentistry in performing these procedures. Will they be replaced? Frankly, I don't think so. But like you said, I think it's the dentists who do not use AI and are not investing in the technology in general, they will be replaced by people who do. That is absolutely true. Yeah.
Well, I've really enjoyed this interview and you've been very informative. And I want to end it on one question, and it's probably the most important question of the whole seminar. Right now, the dentists think there's two types of dentists, there's the young and the old. And those young dentists look at old farts like me and they say, "Oh, Howard, you graduated in the 80s and there were hardly any dentists and blah, blah. And you didn't, your student loan was low and there wasn't DSOs." And they say I graduated in the glory days and then we were lucky, blah, blah, blah. And I sit there and look at them and say, well, the supply demand ratio has not changed. The country's getting richer and richer. The question I want to ask you is, I want you to look that young lady in the eye. She just graduated from dental school, and she wants to know one thing. Given everything you know, do you still think it was a good idea for her to go to dental school, or do you think?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely. I
talk to
think,
that girl. Say
oh,
why.
uh, my son is in dental school at the moment, so I would never advise him to do so if I would not be convinced about the bright future of dentistry. So my main advice would be invest in yourself. You're young, invest in your skill set. It's like your driver's license. When you have your driver's license, you're allowed to practice without someone next to you. Be aware of that and never stop learning. So your basic skills, your basic materials, the foundation, you have to understand it and you have to keep investing in that. For the very simple reason, if you start automating something, you have to understand what you're automating. So that's one thing. Never stop learning on your own clinical skills. Then second, as soon as you possibly can afford it, start investing in technology. The technology is going to support you. It is the future. It is helping you out. Don't be grudgy on the technology you use. So you were saying it yourself, the loops, the CBCT scans, maybe MRI in the near future, a scanner, a good intraoral scanner, not the thing that does it 80% right. Because guess what? If the thing does it 80% right and you make 10% mistake, you're already at the maximum you can do is 70%. It's just not good enough. So invest in the right technology with the right support system. And last but not least, make sure that things are future proof. And what do I mean by that? Technology is one thing, but sustainable and durable technology that can last for the next coming 10 years without having to have 5 terminals in your office, 5 software people coming in to connect everything, that's going to kill you. You have to have a system that is an ecosystem that is built from the core to serve you as a dentist, to collaborate better, have better diagnosis, and be your real partner for the future. That would be my absolute advice. And I've seen it everywhere in the world. People who do that consistently, they are you're talking about 10 times more effective and successful than people who don't. It's not a marginal difference. It is a compounding competitive edge to you, to your patients, and to your future. I think you're in the best profession you can be in. Period.
That is so cool that your own son is in dental school. Maybe that's why you work so hard to make dentistry better, because you're trying to prepare the
Absolutely.
future for your own son. But
Absolutely. I'm a true
well,
believer.
tell him congratulations on choosing dentistry. I still think it was the best pick ever. I tell everyone in school, I mean, come on, what would you have rather been? I mean, this is the best. This is the best gig on life. I mean,
And don't
dentistry.
fully agree. And to all the young people, don't get intimidated. I mean, the world has always been changing. In the 80s, believe it or not, the world was changing as well. It's always hard to start without the experience, but you come this far by graduating. I mean, the people who are not nervous about being a dentist is all the people who didn't make it through graduating dentistry. It's very simple. So keep investing in the basics and keep going. It's great. It's just great. Cannot make it different.
On on that note, Arjan, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Howard, for having me. It was great talking to you.
We'll do it again sometime.